Madhava Kunja Bihari. It works. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Devam Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Astuttara Śrīmad Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Grantara Śrīmad Bhāgavatam Ki Jai Tai Gaura Premanandi All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nasta Praishu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Hare Krishna. Thank you, all of you, for attending this morning's Śrīmad Bhāgavatam class. I'm very happy to see all of you. Thank you for coming. Today we are going to read from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 9, Liberation, Chapter 10, the pastimes of the Supreme Lord Ramachandra. We are doing text 27, right? Yes. Na vai Veda Mahabhaga. Na vai Veda Mahabhaga. Bhavan Kama Vasham Gataha. Bhavan Kama Vasham Gataha. Tejonu Bhavam Sitaya. Tejonu Bhavam Sitaya. Yena Nito Dasham Imam. Yena Nito Dasham Imam. Navai Veda Mahabhaga. Bhavan Kama Vasham Gataha. Tejonu Bhavam Sitaya. Yena Nito Dasham Imam. Please chant. Navai Veda Mahabhaga. Bhavan Kama Vasham Gataha. Tejonu Bhavam Sitaya. Yena Nito Dasham Imam. Navai Veda Mahabhaga. Bhavan Kama Vasham Gataha. Tejanu Bhavam Sitaya. Yena Nito Dasham Imam. Navai Veda Mahabhaga. Bhavan Kama Vasham Gataha. Tejanu Bhavam Sitaya. Yena Nito Dasham Imam. Ladies. Navai Veda Mahabhaga. Bhavan Kama Vasham Gataha. Tejanu Bhavam Sitaya. Yena Nito Dasham Imam. Navai Veda Mahabhaga. yena nito dasham imam na vaiveda mahabhaga bhavan kama vasham gataha tejanu bhavam sitaya yena nito dasham imam. Na, not. Why, indeed, Veda did know. Mahabhaga, O greatly fortunate one. Bhavan, yourself. Kamavasham, influenced by lusty desires. Gataha, having become. Tejaha, by influence. Anubhavam, as a result of such influence. Sitayaha, of Mother Sita. Yena, by which. Nitaha, brought into. Dasham, condition. Imam, like this. Destruction. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada, the key. All right. We can read together. I like that. O greatly fortunate one, you came under the influence of lusty desires, and therefore you could not understand the influence of Mother Sita. Now, because of her curse, you have been reduced to this state, having been killed by Lord Ramachandra. Jai. Purport. Not only was Mother Sita powerful, but any woman who follows in the footsteps of Mother Sita can also become similarly powerful. There are many instances of this in the history of Vedic literature. Whenever we find a description of ideal chaste women, Mother Sita is among them. Mandodari, the wife of Ravana, was also very chaste. Similarly, Draupadi was one of the 5 exalted chaste women. As a man must follow great personalities like Brahma and Narada, a woman must follow the path of such ideal women as Sita, Mandodari and Draupadi. By staying chaste and faithful to her husband, a woman enriches herself with supernatural power. It is a moral principle that one should not be influenced by lusty desires for another's wife. Matrivat parata dareshu. An intelligent person must look upon another's wife as being like his mother. This is a moral injunction from Chanakya Shloka 10. Matrivat paradareshu paradravyeshu lostravad atmavat sarvabhuteshu ya pashyati sa panditaha. One who considers another's wife as his mother, sees another's possession as a lump of dirt, and treats all other living beings as he would himself, is considered to be learned. Thus, Ravana was condemned not only by Lord Ramachandra, but even by his own wife Mandodari. Because she was a chaste woman, she knew the power of another chaste woman, especially such a wife as Mother Sita Devi. Om Ajnanatimrandasya Jananjana Shalakaya Chakshusan Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Mukam Garati Vachalam Pangum Langete Girim Yad Kripadamam Vande Shri Gurum Denataranam Paramananda Madam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Sahodito Gododiya Pushpavanto Chitra Sando Tamonudo. All right. Navai Veda Mahabhaga Bhavan Kama Vasham Gataha Tejanu Bhavam Sitaya Yena Nito Dasham Imam. O greatly fortunate one, you came under the influence of lusty desires, and therefore you could not understand the influence of Mother Sita. Now, because of her curse, you have been reduced to this state, having been killed by Lord Ramachandra. So here we see in this verse, she calls him Mahabhaga. That means greatly fortunate. Why is she calling him Mahabhaga? Why? Okay, that's a very nice answer. Killed by Lord Ramachandra. What are the reasons? Yes? He can see the Lord? He's dead. While he was dying, okay. Yeah, you played the mridanga very nicely and you chanted very nicely also. I thank you for that. Yeah. Any other reasons? Why is he greatly fortunate? I mentioned it the other day also. He comes in a very great lineage. Yeah, his forefathers, Pulasthya Muni, his own father, Vishrava, very powerful personalities, a very great and exalted person. And so he's therefore very fortunate. He got trained in Brahminical culture. He studied the Vedas, and yet he chose, what did he choose? He became a lusty man. He became a slave to his own senses. Kamaesha, Krodesha, Rajaguna, Samudbhavaha, Mahashana, Mahapapa, Viddhinam, Iha, Vairinam. It is lust only, Arjuna. Krishna tells Arjuna that comes into contact with the mode of passion, and it transforms into wrath, and then which is the all-devouring sinful enemy of this world. So lust creates a lot of problem for people like Ravana. He couldn't control himself. Although he is very fortunate, she says that, oh greatly fortunate one, you came under the influence of lusty desires. So he's fortunate because he is in that glorious lineage, but he became overwhelmed by lusty desires. So it behooves for all of us, not just men, that you have to control your, senses, control the senses. Very important, fundamental principle for us, basic things. Everybody wants to know all the high philosophy, but you forget the most fundamental and basic things. You have to control your senses. If your foundation is not strong and you build a house, what happens? One wind and it blows over the whole house. I will huff and I'll puff and I'll blow down your house. Remember? Right? Remember three little pigs. They all go into different houses. Yeah. And the wolf says, I'll huff and puff and blow down your house. So that's what will happen to us if we are not very careful. And the other thing that I've noticed here is that, what is that? In this particular verse, or a series of verses, you can see Mandodari is actually, what is she going through? She's going through grief. Do you not go through grief when something happens to your loved one? So she's going through grief, and it's good to grieve, right? It's good to grieve so that you will have some closure, right? And also you get out your emotions. All those that's confused, and the one you love is dead, you don't know what to do. So by grieving, by crying, you let out all those, at least you can then come to a proper sense of what to do next. If grief overwhelms you, then you can't do things properly. So in one sense it's good. And if you read through the pages of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam also, in the first canto also, after the Kurukshetra battle, all the Pandavas, especially Yudhishthira, he was also grieving, lamenting. The queens, Gandhari, Draupadi, everyone came out and they cried. So much painful, War is terrible. It's not good. It's a terrible thing, but sometimes it is necessary. In this case, it was necessary, and the Rakshasas were going out of control, and Lord Ramachandra had to come in to intervene, although he did not externally show that he was the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But this is how Dharma is sometimes established when chaos ensues in this world. When someone is too powerful. Ravana was extremely powerful, that ordinary people cannot touch him. Even the demigods had to run, and therefore the Supreme Lord came here. And so, the other thing is, being a chaste lady, she also wanted this closure in her life. So Narada Muni gives us in the 7th canto, you'll see that he says a chaste lady, 4 things he says that a chaste lady must do. To render service to the husband. So all the women are thinking, okay, I can do that. To be always favorably disposed towards the husband. So again they may think, okay, that's okay. And then to be equally well disposed and favorable to his relatives and friends. That's a bit difficult. Yeah. And then to follow the vows of the husband. Okay. So now obviously what Narada is saying is the highest principle. Right? Now we are in Kali Yuga, so the principles are kind of, knocked here and knocked there and adjusted according to each and everyone's own understanding of what is correct. Right? So I want to read, let's see, it's on the 11th chapter, 7:11. 7:11. Verses 20, if you go back you can see 25 to 28 I think. So after giving these 4 principles, he says the woman, a chaste woman must dress nicely. Means the attire should be also chaste. Now the men also must dress nicely and chaste also. It's not just for the women, but here he is talking about the chaste ladies. And decorate herself with golden ornaments for the pleasure of her husband. Okay? Remember what Kaikeyi did? What did Kaikeyi do? Yeah, she took out all her jewelry, she let her hair down, she made a mess of her mascara, and she looked like a ghost. Right? So she made it difficult for Dasara to feel comfortable. So in a sense that's not healthy, because it spoils the relationship. And that's the whole idea behind it. And then continuing, she should sweep and clean the household with water and other liquids, so that the entire house is always pure and clean. She should collect the household paraphernalia and keep the house always aromatic with incense and flowers, and must be ready to execute the desires of her husband. Being modest and truthful, controlling her senses and speaking in sweet words, a chaste woman should engage in the service of her husband with love, according to time and circumstances. Okay? It's not like, as I mentioned, this is the highest standard, and obviously the man must also be of a high standard. Yeah, don't think all you guys thinking, oh yeah, my wife must serve me like this. You should deserve it. You cannot demand. One should be qualified, and then you get deserved, and then they will treat you properly. But if you are a nonsense, then she will be a nonsense to you also. Okay? Right? She'll take a stick and beat you up also. Right? So that's what it is. And then one more, a chaste woman should not be greedy. I mean, you can go after prasadam, that's okay. Greedy in other ways, but satisfied in all circumstances. She must be very expert in handling household affairs and should be fully conversant with religious principles. She should speak pleasingly and truthfully and should be very careful and always clean and pure. Thus, a chaste woman should engage with affection in the service of a husband who is not fallen. They're very clear. The husband shouldn't be fallen. And Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport, thus a chaste woman is advised not to agree to serve such a husband who's not surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yeah. But then all of you are so surrendered to Krishna, all you men, so not to worry, right? And all you ladies are so chaste and wonderful. So basic principle from what we read is that for a chaste woman is to be always be favorably disposed to her husband. That means whatever she's doing, no other man should be in her mind. Okay, that's the principle here. There's an example also earlier on in the 9th canto, in the case of a young lady marrying an old man. No. Come on. Who knows? Sukanya. Yes, Sukanya. Married to Chavana. He was, how old was he? He was in his 80s. And she was like 16-year-old girl. But due to some situation, the king married her to Chavana Muni. And did she reject her husband? Did she think of other men? No. She purely served served him. She was very pure, simple, and she didn't mind the austerity. So purity, simplicity and austerity should be there in the practice of taking care of one's husband. Similarly with Devahuti, right? Kardama completely neglected her. She could have filed for lawsuit, divorce and so on, but she didn't. She said, okay, maybe this is what I have to go through. And she endured that, and finally she got a wonderful blessing from the husband. But the other thing you should also realize, if you read the Bhagavatam, is as you go through the Bhagavatam, you'll see that, and you will understand that you can be chaste no matter who your husband is. Whether he is liberated or not, whether he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, like Ram, or he could be a demon like Ravana, or he could be just an ordinary bozo. Yeah. You can still be a chaste to a bozo, right? So that creates a lot of harmony in society. Otherwise chaos will ensue. Again, chastity means no illicit relationship. That's the main understanding in this. Nowadays, the definition of chastity means no illicit relationship outside of marriage. So Srila Prabhupada says that even if the husband is not a great devotee like Kardama Muni, it is the wife's duty to adapt herself according to his mentality. So if you are very intelligent, you should know and study your husband. And then you'll say, okay, he's like that, all right, that's okay. I'll try to, match his ability. But you can be very intelligent and you can address his needs and live a very happy life, I remember one time one couple came for darshan with my Guru Maharaj, and then he spoke to both of them. Then he told the husband, you're not so intelligent. Your wife is more intelligent than you. So when you want to make any decision, consult with her. Yeah. So that's how you guide and help people, Not that, you are a husband, you'd make all the decision, even if it's the worst decision in your life. That doesn't work, right? It's meaningless. So we should be very intelligent, how we should help one another also. So yeah, so that makes married life very happy. So therefore it's a duty of a faithful and chaste wife to help her husband in every aspect. So you can see here, Mandodari was helping the husband, except in the case of when he kidnapped Sita. What did she say? You fool. Of course she didn't say fool. She said, my Lord, you shouldn't do this. This is adharmic. Adharmic. It's not religious. Now it is said that if there's no quarrel between the husband and wife, right, that place becomes a place for the goddess of fortune. Yeah, so if you don't have too much quarrel, Lakshmi Devi will come to your house. Everyone wants Lakshmi, right? But we also want Lakshmi's Pati, Lakshmi Pati in the house also, right? So loving relationship means it will bring opulence, prosperity and stability in your house. Right? So think carefully how you want to relate to your partners and so on. And it'll be a preaching thing, for in ISKCON. And if people see couples are doing well, and it'll be a wonderful preaching example. Yeah. And say, wow, I never knew husband and wives can be so happy. Yeah, we don't see good examples out there. And the media only puts up all these movie stars and all those blog posters and so on, and they don't have a good life, They're miserable. That's why they want to put themselves in Instagram and Facebook, right? Because they want people to look at them, look at me, Yeah. So it's sad. So we find in Ramayana, throughout if you read Ramayana, there's only a few people who go against Ravana in his own family, his brother Vibhishana and his wife Mandodari. Many times she corrects him, don't do this, it's not good for you. Especially regarding the ill-fated decision of kidnapping Sita. She already knew instantly. Why? She's so intelligent. She knew this is going to cause tremendous problem. And it's a duty of the chaste wife to tell the husband, this is not good for you. You cannot say, oh, my husband, he wants to do, I'm not going to do anything. That's not chaste. You're causing problems for you. Tremendous amount of problem. You say, look, this is not good. You can say it in a nice, sweet way, You can say, oh, my dear foolish husband, this choice you are making, just like Prahlad Maharaj calls his father, right? Oh, best of the asuras, Right? But of course, Hiranyakashipu is like, yeah, I'm asura, it's cool, yeah. So she knew it was wrong when he abducted. So she urges him. So many times she even comes to him and say, if you don't want to give Sita back, I will take her to Ram. So much this Mandodari is going through. So much she wants to save her husband's life. Who other person in our Purana saved her husband who died? You guys know actually, but maybe it's, somewhere in there. Where? Yes, yay, you get some points. Yeah. Right, Savitri. Yeah. Her husband died and then Yamaraj came and she kept following Yamaraj and then Yamaraj said, why are you following me? I'll give you some blessings, you go away. And she kept following, what do you want? I want to have a child. Okay, I bless you, you have a child. Then she kept following again. He said, why are you still following? I want to have a child with my husband. Then Yamaraj looked and said, okay, you got me. So then he sent the husband back. Such chastity, so powerful is her chastity that she saved her husband from death. So we read all these things. But Ravana couldn't accept his wife's counsel, although it was good. So what is the lesson you can learn from here? If your wife is chaste, she's well-read, she's intelligent, men, what is the lesson you will learn? No lesson? Yeah, listen to her. That's right. Get the right counsel. Think about it and say, wow, my wife has it correct. I have it wrong. Yeah. There's nothing wrong to accept sometimes that we can't make good decision. Right? So there's nothing wrong. Actually, in Kali Yuga, all men should, get with the wives and then say, okay, I'm going to make this. What do you think? What's your opinion? Let's talk about it. That's how it should be. Because the qualification in Kali Yuga, the men in the previous yugas are very qualified. Nowadays the men are very unqualified. Mostly unqualified. In many places when I travel, mostly the ladies will come for pravachan and listening to katha. Very few men will attend classes. Yeah. That's one thing. And in terms of culture and maintaining culture, the women do that. Right? Even when they migrate to another country, they wear and everything nicely. They wear all the traditional clothes and so on. But the men will wear whatever is there. You can see how many of you wearing pants, Nothing wrong. I'm just saying, the affinity to embrace a different culture comes easily for the men, but then for the ladies, they are more reposed in wanting to maintain culture. And that's why women should be protected. That's the reason Arjuna was very concerned and said, no, we need to protect. Otherwise, it'll cause unwanted progeny. Why? Because unscrupulous men will take advantage. They will destroy the culture. Which is what's going on in present-day society. You can see billboards everywhere, selling flesh, selling alcohol. Oh, if you want to break the 4 regulative principles, just see the billboards. Yeah? And here we are, a few percentage, 1-2% of the population, or even less than that, 0.001 maybe. And we are trying to maintain some decorum or some standard, some Vedic standard we want. And why? Because even a little bit of a good thing that we do influences the atmosphere. When we chant, when we follow, such wonderful vibrations we are sending out. The Brihad Mridanga. So this vibration is so positive that it can influence every single living entity around us and further. And so it's important. We should follow like this. So Mandodari here, we can see Ravana didn't follow her wisdom and her attempts to guide him. And so we see she is the embodiment of the ideal, Dharma Padni, religious wife. Or you can say Pati Vrata. She also stuck to her husband, So she is one who stuck to her husband despite his faults. He had so many faults, but she loved him. This is true love, right? You read in the books and so on, but you never see it in your own lives, Yeah? But if you follow principles, religious principles nicely, you will develop true love for each other also. Not based on the flesh, okay? It's not about sense gratification. It's about understanding the hearts and wanting to help one another progress spiritually. That's the whole idea about Krishna consciousness. It's not about, I want my tongue satisfied, my eyes satisfied. It's not that. All that can be satisfied through Krishna consciousness. Prasadam, seeing the beautiful deities, this is how we satisfy our senses. Yeah. Smelling the incense and so on. Yeah. The flowers and so on. Yeah. Right? But when we say a woman remains loyal and dutiful to her husband despite the flaws of the husband, it doesn't mean the woman should endure unnecessary abuse. Actually, I shouldn't use the word unnecessary. I should say she should not endure abuse. Okay, just like Prabhupada say, if the person is demoniac or against you performing Krishna conscious activity, if they are very harsh, you can leave. If it's not conducive for your Krishna consciousness, yeah. Of course, I'm not advocating you do that at the moment. You get your guidance from your counselors or marriage counselor or whatever, right? So despite being surrounded by all kinds of figures of destruction, Kumbhakarna and his generals surrounding Ravana, she did not give up her attempt to help her husband understand the purpose, the right things to do. So Mandodari's qualities actually parallels great ladies like Draupadi, Gandhari, Savitri, all the threes. Yeah, Mandodari also, herself, Kunti, Ahalya, all these are chaste ladies. That's why they are in the pages of Purana, so that we have someone to look up to, someone we can emulate and follow. Therefore, it's very important. So when she is trying to help or was loyal and wise to guide Ravana, she is embodying what we, in our understanding, is compassion for Ravana. She's embodying not only compassion, she's also showing empathy for his suffering. She wants to help him. So wonderful a wife, you know. It's not easy to get such a quality woman like this, you know. Therefore, she exemplifies moral strength and resilience. In the face of so many difficult situations she saw herself in, you know. So it's very important. So although she was in Lanka among all the Rakshasas, she represented, she represented dharma, righteousness. It's far out if you think about it carefully. Not only she, well, I say she because Vibhishana, he left. Yeah. Otherwise she would have one other person. But from what we read, she was representing that. So we can say her story is very profound. It represents loyalty as well as the challenges faced by individuals like all of us we go through. But look at what she went through in a terrible situation, dominated by adharma, unrighteousness. Unlike her husband, she adhered to virtues of honesty, wisdom, empathy. So she set herself apart from what Ravana was doing. Although she is the wife, she never went against him, but she tried to educate him. So another point is, it's important for all of us, we are practicing, we should know what are the principles, what are good principles, what are principles we shouldn't pursue, and so on. It's good for us, then we become better devotees. And when we become better devotees, we can become guiding lights for others. So many people come, right, to the temple, and they just come, they take prasadam, go. But if they see good examples, if they hear about good devotees, they want to know how they themselves can become good representatives, you know. Yeah. Yeah. So it's important. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Srishu dustasu varshneya jayate varna shankara. So if women are polluted, then the varna shankara, the progeny, unwanted population. What's wrong with unwanted population? Unwanted population creates bad population. What do I mean? Because good population is a basic principle for peace, prosperity, and spiritual progress. Bad population will never go through these principles. They don't care. They just want to enjoy their senses at the expense of other people's suffering. Whereas good population, they want to take care of everybody. Everyone is liberated at the end of their life. You know, everybody goes back to Godhead. That's the whole idea between Varna Shankara and not wanting Varna Shankara. If the women are protected, then they become the best examples for the children. Do you know that? Because they'll practice so nicely. If you give tasks, I've noticed this when I was working years ago. If you give that same task to two different persons, men and women, the women will do it much better. They will even color their lines and everything. They'll do the boxes and so on. But the man will just scribble and say, hey boss, this is done this way. I mean, they may be right, but when you comparatively you look at it, the standard is different actually. So therefore, women have to be protected. Otherwise, the children who grow up in the environment that is full of disruption, disarray, will have mental problems, they'll be dysfunctional, and when they have family, the family will be dysfunctional, they'll have antisocial attributes, qualities, drug dependencies. All this is what you're seeing in present society. Therefore, the woman needs good protection from cradle to grave. Yeah. She should be protected at all times. Yeah? Prabhupada says that, right? When you're young, the father; when you're married, the husband; when you are older, the son. If you have no son, the community of devotees will take care. Yeah. And that's very important. That's why ISKCON has to cultivate these qualities. We should see as improving ourselves. We shouldn't worry about certain things that is not in our control. Some things are in our control. You can make changes to those things you can control. You can't make changes to things you have no control. So don't worry about those things. Think about it, see if you can give your opinions and views and see if that will help. Sometimes you can give nice reasons and nice solutions, but then people won't listen. So why go and knock your head on the wall, bang, bang, bang? Nobody is going to bother. So after 1, 2 attempts, you should be intelligent enough to know that Krishna did not appoint you to change it. Right? That's intelligence. Then you should say, Krishna, I tried, and now I understand it's not my job. Someone else's job. Isn't that? That is intelligence. And then, if you know that, then you won't create problems. Rather, you become part of the solution. And say, okay, if my ideas don't gel with everyone, then how can I help? That's the humble attitude. That's our whole process, become humble. And then we can elevate the consciousness of others in tandem, together. So it's very important. So Varnashram system that is in Vedic system is designed that good population will prevail in society. That's the whole idea in Varnashram. So that there's a general spiritual progress of state and community. From the family, then it goes to a group of people, the community, the entire country like that. So therefore it's important, we have to see it like this. The focus is always on Krishna, spirituality. Okay, we should always focus. How does it help our Krishna consciousness? Yeah. Right? Smartavya, Satatam Vishnu, Vismartavya, Na Jadusit. Always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. Whatever you do, see how you remember Krishna. Yeah? If you think your way is going to make you remember Krishna, but if you, by your action, other people forget Krishna, does that mean you are right? Right. So you have to think carefully, some things may work for you, but may not work for everyone. So it's very important, huh? So Prabhupada also argues in some of his purports, if you read carefully, that if women are engaged in various spiritual activities or religious practices, they cannot be misled into adultery. It is when they are not doing or engaged properly, then this unscrupulous man will come and talk sweet nothings, and they're like, like the Pied Piper. Yeah. we have our weaknesses also. Each and every one have our weaknesses. So women as a whole, we find that if they are flattered enough, they will, okay. I remember my boss, she was a lady, but whenever I flatter her, she say, "Oh, you're so funny," and she'll go away. When she'll be serious, but when you joke with her and so on, it'll be gone. So flattery sometimes is used in the wrong way by unscrupulous men. It's not supposed to be used like that, but that's how it is. So if the varnashram dharma fails, then women will be free to act and mix with men, and then the risk of unwanted population takes place. And then therefore we have so many problems. So irresponsible men will provoke adultery in society. They want that. And then they want unwanted children to create chaos in the country, which comes at the cost of the social welfare. And then in the long run, war and pestilence. Unnecessary war will come. So Ravana was a person who was not a responsible person. He wanted to create long-term problems for the whole country, the whole world. Yeah. He thought he was invincible, and so he wanted to change the whole system of Vedic culture. Did you know that he was building a stairwell all the way to heaven? There's a song called Stairway to Heaven also. Led Zeppelin, I think. Yeah. Yeah. So when you have a lot of power, the power will corrupt. So when you have absolute power, it will corrupt? Absolutely. So that was one of his programs, Ravana's program. He would harass the rishis, the intelligent sages, and his followers would kill the brahmanas and destroy yagnas, all so that the Vedic traditions are all chopped down. And then the women will be free for abuse. That was his whole program. Okay? So we also know in the Bhagavatam, when Dushasana went to pull who? Draupadi by her hair. So in the Shastra it says, Gata yitva sato rajna kacha sparsha shatha yusaha. So as soon as he pulled her hair, she's a chaste lady. So when he pulled the hair, his lifespan was shortened. Shatayushaha, his lifespan was cut. So therefore, Srila Prabhupada mentions, one should not insult a chaste woman. If you do that, it means you're going to bring disaster to oneself. So it could be your own wife, it could be some other lady, so be careful. You're dealing with devotees. So be very, very careful. And we find in the Mahabharata, both Duryodhana and Dushasana lost their lives in a very sad way, Untimely death, yeah. And there's another story my mom told me. When I was young, she was saying how two brothers, they were running a business, a grain mill. So one of the brothers died. So the widow came to the other brother and said, now I have no one to take care of me. Please, give me some of the money that is invested in this mill, the grain mill. So the other brother refused to give her the money. And then she went around asking for help, and nobody would help them. They suffered a lot. So she got so disturbed, she went to the river Kaveri, she took bath, and then without drying herself, she walked all the way to her brother-in-law's house, and then she cursed him. So from henceforth, you will not have any male child in your lineage. And for the next 4 or 5 generations, no male child ever took birth, until that vamsa of that people were gone. Yeah. So the power of a chaste woman, don't mess around. don't mess around. Don't mess around with a chaste lady, yeah. Even Daksha, he offended his daughter. She was a chaste girl and he offended her, so much so, and in the end he died. So we understand from the Purana certain things we should be very careful. Huh? So moral principle is one, is one to be not influenced, That's the whole idea. Moral principle means for one not to be influenced by lusty desires for another's wife. Prabhupada says in the purport. Yeah? But then in this society, you send your children to school thinking, oh, my child, my daughter, my son, they're going to study, they're becoming so successful. But then the schools are so contaminated. Statistics show, at least in the United States, right? What is that? 68% of the boys, by the time they are in high school, they all have watched pornography. 68%. That means almost 7 out of 10. And then 58% of the girls are also watching pornography. So what is the problem? This has got long-term consequences for society. Such a young age, their brains are all contaminated. And they are supposed to develop a higher principle. This is base, it brings them down. And they studied in US, right? They did this research. They had long-term effects. What were some of the effects? It devastates personal relationship. Men and women, they can't have proper relationship. And then they also found there's increased divorce rates among young adults. Basic main problem is pornography. And then the other thing they found that they are never satisfied with each other, with the husband and wife, because of their addiction. And then mental health, they feel lonely, they feel stress, they feel anxiety, and they are always having depression. And then the final one they found was they were all unhappy of their own physical appearance because they are watching all these stupid things. Yeah. So these are some of the consequences of not having chastity. Now before I end, just want to tell you something about Mandodari. Originally, before she took birth, she was known as Madhura, a celestial Apsara, or sometimes they say nymph. And she was a great devotee of Lord Shiva. And she used to observe serious penances and vrats just to please Lord Shiva. So one day she got the audience of Lord Shiva, and she went to the Kailash mountain to see him. So at that time when she was approaching to see Lord Shiva, Parvati wasn't around. She went somewhere else. So later when Parvati comes back, she sees Madhura walking away, and she's amazed because Madhura is so beautiful. In one sense she was thinking, she's so beautiful, womanly jealousy, she's so beautiful. And then she saw she had ashes on her. So what did she think? Huh? What did she think? She thought her husband Shiva and Madhura had something together. So she became so angry, she cursed Madhura. She said, now you'll become a frog in a well. She cursed her. But then Lord Shiva was around, she said, why did you do that? Because he didn't do anything wrong. And so he said, all right, I'll give Madhura a boon. She said, for 12 years you remain a frog, and then after that you will be rescued and you'll become a daughter of a king. So there's this Maya Sura. Maya Sura is Maya Danava, right? The son of Danu. So Mayasura and his wife Hemavati, they do a lot of austerity. They have 2 sons already, Dundubi and Mayavi, but they wanted a daughter. So the austerity they perform for a daughter. And then Lord Shiva comes to them in a dream and says, if you go to this well, and then you'll see a baby, and you please take that baby. And so they go in the Kailash mountain and they come across this lake, this well, and they hear a baby crying. And so then they see this beautiful baby, and then as they rescue Mayasura or Maya, he names her Mandodari. Means she has beautiful belly. Udari, yeah. Beautiful belly. I don't know how you can see a beautiful belly in a baby, but yeah, I guess somehow or other they have long-term vision. So she's very, very beautiful, exquisitely beautiful, because when Hanuman goes to Lanka and tries to look for Sita, he goes through the chambers of Ravana. And then at the time when he's crossing, he sees this beautiful, exalted looking, and for a moment he thought this is Sita, and she is with Ravana. Then he said, no, my Sita is chaste. And then he realized this is Mandodari. Yeah. And just imagine, she's so beautiful, so chaste to her husband. When Ravana saw her the first time, he visited Mayasura, and when he saw her, he got struck by lightning, He's like, whoa, I need her. I want her. So he approached the father. The father thought, this guy is crazy. I'm not going to give my daughter to a crazy man. And that's the right thing to do. You don't give your daughter to a crazy man, And nowadays people, they marry their good daughters to a donkey, and then she suffers, People should think carefully, how they marry their daughters off. So anyway, the father said no, and then Ravana got angry, and then he went back. But he didn't just go back. He kidnapped Mandodari. And then Mayasura, the king, wanted to fight. But Mandodari, in the meantime, realized that Ravana is very powerful and my father will die. So she proposed to her father, let me marry this man. I'm okay with this. Just see this woman, so exalted. She wanted to save her father's life. And so she sacrificed whatever desires she had, and she served her husband so nicely. Yeah. And then the last thing I want to add before I end is a pastime between Vallabhacharya and Advaita-acharya. So he says to Advaita-acharya, every living entity is Prakriti. Prakriti means? No, another meaning? Female. So, and therefore Prakriti should consider Krishna as her husband, Pati. So therefore he says, it is the duty of a chaste wife devoted to husband not to mention or utter her husband's name. Then he says, but all of you are chanting Krishna, Krishna. How can this be religious principle? So Advaita-acharya looks at him and says, I don't know. Go and ask Lord Chaitanya, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Mahaprabhu is standing there, He's the personification of religious principles. You should ask him, for he will give the proper answer. And hearing this, Mahaprabhu said, oh, Vallabha, you do not know religious principles. And then Vallabha is like looking, and then he said, the first duty of a chaste wife is to carry out the order of a husband. So the order of Krishna is that you chant his name consistently, incessantly. Therefore, one who is chaste means he adheres to the husband's orders. In this case, Krishna says we must all chant his name. And if you chant his name, Krishna becomes happy. He gets very happy when you say, as soon as you say Krishna, Krishna say, who said that? Cool. He's very happy. So therefore, he says the wife cannot deny the husband's order. And so we chant. And therefore we chant the holy name. And for all of us, what is our chastity in ISKCON? Okay, she says chanting. It's actually, time's running short, so it's fidelity to Srila Prabhupada's instructions. How Srila Prabhupada wanted us to behave in society, how we serve society, how we serve one another, how we promote Krishna consciousness in society by following his teachings. Not to modify, not to change, not to think we know better, but follow his hierarchy that he has set up, GBC, authorities. We have to follow all these things. We can't think we know everything, right? So this is the true fidelity. This is our chastity to ISKCON. Okay, so I will end here. Hare Krishna. Comments, questions? Oh, look at that. Yes.
You said about the vibrations that we send out. So I had something.
Vibration?
Yeah, the bit that you said before the Brihad Mridanga, before that, I have something to add on that.
Okay, go ahead.
So there was a scientific research about if you deplore someone, the water makes distorted water crystals.
Yes.
And then when you praise someone, appreciate, the water makes beautiful water crystals. And then when you chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, the water crystals become absolutely very beautiful.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. That's a Japanese scientist who did that research, yes.
And 70% of ourself is water.
70% ourselves is water. That's a good point. Yeah. So we should be chanting 24/7. Thank you for that. Anyone else? Have any comments? Yes, Sevia.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for the nice class. Prabhu, you were talking about chastity. So my question is, how come Lord Ram sent Mother Sita to the forest, knowing that she was innocent even after the Agni Pariksha? We understand that he was trying to set the example of an ideal king, but was he also not setting the example of a person that, knowing, even though you know that your wife is innocent, just by the way people say things and how they think, you just neglect your wife and send her to the forest?
I think you kind of answered it, because his avatar is to show that ideal standard, the topmost standard. That's one thing. The other thing that some acharyas also say is, although it appears externally that he sent her away, but actually both of them are experiencing Vipralamba Bhava. So that is a higher principle. Yeah. So that's what the acharyas say, and you're right. Many ladies nowadays in society, they think this is unfair because she didn't do anything wrong. But on a spiritual level, that separation is enhancing their love for each other even more than what we can understand. On a physical platform, yeah, you can say this attraction is there, but in separation, it is far more superior. Yeah. So they are actually feeling that ecstatic love in the separation. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, Prabhu.
Also, Prabhu, I was listening in another lecture about this point, where the speaker from ISKCON was saying that...
Who? It's okay, but where?
In Delhi.
Delhi, okay.
One of the ISKCON speaker was saying, okay. I don't know whether I shouldn't take the name, but yeah.
That's
His
okay.
Grace Amoglila Prabhu was mentioning, he had made a very beautiful series of Ramayana from different versions. So he was saying that also happened because Sita Devi wanted her children, to grow up in in a sage community, surrounded by exalted sage like Valmiki. So she wanted that kind of, and Lord Ram was fulfilling that desire. So that is why that happened. Though Lakshman was also devastated when he heard that and when he performed that, but this was the desire of both.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, on the material level we can only see some things, but actually in spiritual level there are other deep things that are revealed to us by different acharyas, and otherwise we won't know also what's happening, right? Yeah. The other thing is, he didn't just send her away in the wilderness, he told Lakshman, bring her to Valmiki's place. Yeah. So she's protected nicely. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, what to do? If your husband asks you to move out of the house, what would you do? Where is Valmiki? Right? Any other points you all want to raise? Yes, Prabhu? Oh, you still have some more. You have to press.
So it was a little confusing that why Mother Parvati cursed, Bandotri, previous life. And, she had to
Yeah. It's actually, as you said, it's Leela usually. And just like Chitra Ketu also, remember? When he became one of the... Yeah, in that she cursed him, Remember, he was making a joke with Lord Shiva and she got angry. And Lord Shiva said, why did you do that? Same thing, yeah. So sometimes it's Leela. When great personalities curse, it is for the benefit of that individual. Yeah, yeah. So Mandodari got to see Lord Ram and get his blessings also. Yeah. So we have to see the positives in right, and become grateful. Yeah. All of us are very grateful to Srila Prabhupada, right? Yeah, yeah. Yes, Prabhu. He has he wants to add some points. Yeah, speak loudly. Yeah.
One of the signs of intelligence, if I correctly understand understood from you, is that after we have made few attempts to change something, and if we have been unsuccessful, then take that as the Lord's plan. He doesn't want us to be.
Or you ask other qualified people that you can always ask them that I've attempted so many times, this thing doesn't seem to change. What do you suggest? Yeah.
Yeah, so my question was then, how do we balance that mood with the opposing principle of determination and perseverance?
It has to be tempered under the guidance of Vaishnavas. We cannot just think openly that I have this, as you mentioned, determination, yeah. So that determination is focused in the wrong thing, then the determination must be reposed into a better, other opportunities where it can be used properly. Yeah. Okay? Yeah. Sometimes you may try something, you have the determination and so on, but then you are unsuccessful. Why keep doing it? What is the sign of intelligence? To keep doing something that you never get the result? Right? The sign of intelligence is you try once, twice, then you know this is not going to... Or there's this statement I've read, a person keeps trying and doing and they're hoping for a different result when they're always getting the same result. That's not intelligence. So you have to come to a point in understanding that this is not going to change. Now if you don't understand it, ask others who you feel or you have faith in, who you feel are your well-wishers. So you can ask them and they'll say, either continue or give up. We shouldn't become Jarasandha. You know Jarasandha? Do you know what he was doing? How many times he was trying to defeat Krishna? Huh? And he never defeated Krishna. And Krishna once ran away to do something else. He said, I defeated Krishna. Yeah, so we shouldn't become Jarasandha. Yeah. So have good associates, devotees who are your well-wishers and who want you to go back to Godhead. And then you find that as you go through life with different circumstances, when you bring it up to them, they will help you come to a better conclusion. Ultimately, it's your choice. Okay, it's almost 9.